I want to describe a scene, and I want you to tell me honestly if this sounds familiar. You come home from work. You've had a hard day. Maybe you're tired. Maybe something went wrong. Maybe you're just running on empty. Before you even say a word, before you've taken off your jacket or put your keys down, you notice it. Your kids go a little quieter. Your wife reads your face and adjusts. The energy in the room shifts. Everybody recalibrates around whatever mood you walked in with. Nobody says anything. Nobody has to. They already know. That's not your family being intuitive. That's your family managing you. And if that scene landed anywhere close to home, I want you to stay with me today because we're going to talk about what that actually means, how it got this way, and what you can do about it starting now. There was a moment, and I've thought a lot about this since it happened, where I realized my kids weren't just reacting to me, they were anticipating me. My youngest would come and ask me something, and before the words even came out, he would look at my wife first, just a glance, like he was checking if it was safe, whether right now was a good time, whether dad was in a good mood. He's a kid. He should have been writing that calculation. That's not a kid thing. That's a survival thing. And in fact, that my child had developed a survival strategy for interacting with his own father, that landed on me hard when I finally let myself see it clearly. The thing is, I hadn't seen it happening. It wasn't like there was one big moment where everything changed. It was gradual. It was one interaction at a time over years. One moment where my tone was sharp enough that everyone went quiet. One dinner when the wrong thing was said and the mood in the room changed and everyone learned we don't do that around dad. One Saturday morning when I was stressed out about something, nobody else knew about it, and I snapped at something small. The kids disappeared to their rooms for the rest of the day. None of those moments felt like defining moments at the time. They just felt like bad days. Like I lost a little, but it wasn't that big of a deal. The kids don't file those moments away under a bad day. They file them under how dad is. And over time, one entry at a time, they build a picture. And they build a strategy around that picture. And the strategy is read the room, manage dad's mood, don't poke the bear. When I finally saw that clearly, I didn't feel angry. I felt devastated because that was the opposite of everything that I wanted to be for them. Let me explain what's actually happening because I think it's important to understand the mechanism before we talk about how to change it. Kids are extraordinarily perceptive, far more than we give them credit for. They are wired from birth to read their emotional state of the adults around them. Because for most human history, that was a survival skill. A child who can better read whether an adult was safe or unsafe had a better chance of getting their needs met. That instinct is ancient and it's powerful. So when you're unpredictable and your emotional state swings and your household has to adjust around it, your kids don't just notice it, they adapt to it. They build a finely tuned system for reading you. They learn your tells. They learn what triggers you. They learn when to ask and when to stay quiet. They learn which version of you walked through the door today. And here's what that costs them. A child who is busy managing a parent's emotional state is a child that's not free to just be a child. They are carrying a job that they were never supposed to have. They're using cognitive and emotional bandwidth that should be going towards playing, learning, growing, making mistakes safely, and instead, they're spending it monitoring you. That's not dramatic. That's not me overstating it. That is what happens in homes where parents are emotionally unpredictable. Their kids become little emotional meteorologists, always checking the forecast, always preparing for the next storm. The long term cost that goes far beyond childhood. Those kids grow up with a heightened sensitivity to other people's moods. They become adults that are always scanning the room, always trying to keep the peace, always putting other people's emotional states ahead of their own needs. Or they go the other direction. They shut it all down completely and become the same emotional, unavailable man that you've been trying not to be. Either way, it comes from you. It gets passed down, not through genetics, through environment, through what they watched and what they learned and what they decided was normal. I know that's heavy. I'm not saying it to make you feel like you're a bad father. I'm saying it because I think you need to understand what's actually at stake here. This isn't just about having a better temper. This is about breaking a pattern that will otherwise outlive you. Now, here's the other side of this, and it's just as important. Shame is not going to fix this. Let me say that again because I know some of you are sitting there right now feeling a weight in your chest that's starting to tip from uncomfortable to crushing. Shame is not going to fix this. Shame might feel like the appropriate response, like you deserve to feel terrible about it. And maybe there's a small place where that feeling is just enough to take it seriously. But if you stay in shame, if you let it become the dominant emotion here, it's going to make everything worse. Because a man who is drowning in shame about his parenting doesn't show up better for his kids. He either withdraws to avoid causing more damage, or he overcorrects in ways that create a different kind of confusion. What your kids need is not a perfect father. They've never needed that, and they never will. What they need is a father who is honest, who is trying, and can acknowledge when he got it wrong, and who shows up consistently enough so they can start to trust the pattern. Consistency is the key, not perfection. Consistency. One honest conversation where you say to your kids, hey, I know I've been hard to deal with sometimes, and that's not on you. That's on me, and I'm working on it. That conversation is worth more than 100 perfect days that come out of nowhere and mean nothing because there's no foundation under them. Your kids don't need you to have it all figured out. They need to see you're doing the work. That's the most powerful thing a father can model. Not having the answers, caring enough to look for them. So here's where to start, practically and concretely, because I know that's what you're here for. The first thing is to get honest with yourself about what's actually happening in your home right now. Not the version you tell yourself when you're feeling good about things, the real version. Do your kids read your mood before they approach you? Do they look at your wife before they speak to you? Do they disappear when you're stressed? Do they seem to walk on eggshells in certain moments? Just see it clearly, without judgment. Just see it. Second thing is to start working on your own emotional predictability. This doesn't mean being happy all the time. It doesn't mean pretending that everything is fine. It means your kids should be able to predict that you are safe regardless of your mood. That even when dad is tired or stressed or having a hard day, the emotional temperature in the house isn't going to become their problem to manage. That predictability comes from the work we've talked about in previous videos. Understanding what's underneath your reactions, knowing your patterns, having enough self-awareness to catch yourself before overflow happens. The third thing, and this one matters more than almost anything else, is repair. If your kids have been managing you for a while, the relationship has a deficit, not an insurmountable one, but a real one. And the way you address that deficit is through constant repair. Repair doesn't have to be a big dramatic conversation. It can be as simple as coming back after a moment where you lost it and saying, "Hey, I'm sorry about earlier. That wasn't okay. And it wasn't your fault." That's it. Short, direct, no over explaining, no making them reassure you that it's fine. Just own it and move on. Do that consistently, and something starts to shift. Your kids start to learn a new pattern. Dad gets it wrong sometimes, but dad comes back. Dad takes responsibility. Dad is safe even when he's imperfect. That's the foundation you're building. Not a highlight reel, a foundation. And the last thing I want to say, the fact that you're watching this video, that you already see it, and seeing it, really seeing it clearly without looking away, is the hardest part. Most men never get there. They stay in the comfortable story that it's not that bad, or they'll grow out of it, or it builds character. You're not doing that. You're here. You're looking at it straight. That matters. That's the beginning of everything changing. If this video hits somewhere real for you, I want to point you to my free audio lesson listed in the description. It's called The Unspoken Rules You Absorbed. It goes deep on the silent patterns you inherited, the ones that become the blueprint on how you show up as a father today. Understanding where the patterns came from is the first step towards deciding which ones you want to pass on and which ones stop with you. It's free. It's audio. You can listen in your car, on a walk. Link is in the description. And leave a comment. Tell me, did that scene at the beginning of this video sound familiar? Tell me honestly. This is a room of men asking the same questions, and nobody is here to judge. I read every comment and respond. I'll see you in the next one. Let's keep going. Grab the free audio today. Link is in the description. And watch this next.